class is in memory of Jared Orchen, and today we're going to learn the Haftorah of Parshat Vayetse. It's on page 1386. As we started last week, we start to learn the Haftorah of every parsha, and it's time to get to know the Haftorahs. The parshas we kind of know. We're already big scholars, we know the whole story. But the Haftorah, that's right, it's a little less known. This Haftorah comes from the book of Hosea. Hosea was a prophet by the end of the kingdom of Israel. The kingdom of Israel disappeared, was exiled, was destroyed 100 years, right? Before the destruction of the first temple.
140 roughly.
104 years before the destruction of the first temple. Hosea was in the kingdom of Israel. There were two kingdoms. There were the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel. The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, right? And at the same time, Isaiah was the prophet by the Jews, by the people of Judah. Hosea lived in the kingdom of Israel with the 10 tribes, but most of them were idol worshippers and having fun. But that was already by the end. It was the deterioration. It was the time when Assyrian kingdom was becoming more and more powerful in the world. And eventually the Assyrians were the one who exiled the Jews, the 10 tribes from Israel. The Assyrian had a philosophy of moving people around. Like we have the big problem now with immigration, that Syrian refugees run away to everywhere. Their philosophy was to move people around. Nobody should ever be able to claim that this land is his land. This land is my land, my grandfathers lived there. If you live in Cleveland, you move to New York. In New York, you move to Cleveland. Nobody can claim it's mine. That's how they exiled the Jews. Two tribes first, 2.5 tribes first, then another 2 tribes, another 2 tribes. Eventually, the whole 10 tribes were exiled from Israel. Hosea was at this time the prophet of the people, the Jews who lived in the 10 tribes. The kings of the 10 tribes were Ephraim. Then many times when the prophet says, Ephraim, listen, Ephraim means they're all 10 tribes. Why they called Ephraim? Because they were controlled by the tribe of Ephraim. They were the kings. That's the backdrop of this prophecy. Hosea is a prophet that from line to line, in one line, he rebukes the Jewish people, and the next line, he gives comfort. He's not even waiting for one paragraph. It can go back and forth. Okay, let's start read and we'll see where we're going to get.
My people are wavering about taking the first step in returning to me, even though the prophets call to the people to rise up and take the initiative to return to the one above. Nevertheless, they are united in that nobody rises up.
He says, the prophet complains in the name of God. My people, he says, are not ready to make the first move. I call them, but they are not ready to come back to God. That's what he's complaining. They're wavering to make the return to turn to me.
Nevertheless, I still have mercy on you.
Nevertheless, says the prophet, in the name of God, I still have mercy on you. For
how can I give you Ephraim over to the nations and deliver you into their hands?
How can I give up on you? How can I deliver you and give you to the end of the nations? Continue.
How can I let you be overturned like Admah, or make you desolate like
Tzvoim.
Yeah, Tzvoim.
We'll stop right here. What is this? How can I overturn you like Admah? And making you desolate like Tzvoim? What's going on? Hey, don't cheat.
Don't cheat.
Don't cheat. What is it? Admah and Tzvoim. What is it? No? We are the scholars. No?
Maybe it's got to be something like Sodom and Gomorrah.
Very good. Sodom and Gomorrah. Let's see. Sometimes you have to learn to see a few places to see something. Open on page 1319.
1319.
Number 22. This is already by the end of the 5 books of Moses. The day that Moses says goodbye. And number 22, read it, please.
Sulfur and salt have burned up their entire land. It cannot be sown. It is infertile, and not even grass will sprout upon it. It is like the overturning of Sodom, Amorah, Admah, and Seboim.
Really? Go ahead, continue.
The cities which God overturned in his fury and rage.
That's it. That he says God will not overturn you as he did when he overturned Sodom and Amorah and Gomorrah, Admah and Seboim. Names of 4 cities. Why everybody knows only Sodom and Gomorrah? Because when you look in the story itself, in Parshas Vayero, when Hashem actually turned over Sodom and Gomorrah, it's mentioned only Sodom and Gomorrah.
Gomorrah is the same thing as
Amorah.
Amorah?
Yeah, Amorah is in Hebrew, Gomorrah is in English, obviously. Because I don't know from any other places why it's called Gomorrah. Page 107.
Wasn't there 5 cities? Or?
Wait a second, very good question. Very good question. He tells them, we learn about that they tell him, we are going to destroy the place, and Lot, they save Lot. That on page 107, number 19, you want to read number 19?
Right now, your servant has found favor in your eyes, and your kindness that you did in saving my life was great. But I cannot flee to the mountain in case I will be considered evil in comparison to Avram, and I will die. Now here there is a city which I can flee to, which is recently inhabited, and its sins are small. Please let me flee there and live. After all, doesn't it have only a few sins?
Okay, continue. That's not so important. Next page.
One of the angels said to him on God's behalf, "Look, I am giving you a special dispensation that not only will you be saved, but I will not overturn the city that you have mentioned. Hurry and flee there, for I will not be able to do anything until you arrive there."
Okay.
The city was therefore named
Zoar.
meaning
That
small.
one city was not overturned. They were supposed to overturn Zoar, and they didn't. They turned over, we know in this part story, and right there, on the same page, in this number 24, it's written, and God caused to rain, continue,
God caused it to rain down upon Sodom and
and Amorah, right? Then we know Sodom and Amorah was destroyed, Zoar was not destroyed. And there before we read about Admah and Seboim, right? Now where we get the full picture is a little earlier. You remember there was a war between the 4 kings and the 5 kings? And Abraham saved Lot. Then here it is on page 75. We have the whole story. Now,
God said to Abraham,
it's chapter 14, the war between the 5 kings and the 4 kings. It happens. You see it?
number 14.
It happened.
it happens in the day of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arayah, king of Elasar, Kedarla, Omer, king of Elam, and Tigal, king of Goyim. They waged war with Bera, king of Sodom.
Okay, here it starts. They waged war with 5 kings. 1, Bera, the king of Sodom, Birsha, the king of Amorah, Shinov, the king of Admah, you see? Shemever, the king of Tzvoim, and the king of Bela, which is now Zoar. Here are the 5 cities. And when it came to destroy, he destroyed only 4. Zoar he didn't destroy because the Lord asked him to, and he said, okay, I will not overturn the 5th city. Later, Moses, by the end, mentions only 4 cities, not 5. That's why, and that was the negotiation between Abraham and God about saving Sodom and Gomorrah. What was the first number?
45.
No,
50.
50. Why 50?
Oh, 10
Sometimes
each.
10.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
10 for each city. 5 cities. These are the 5 cities. Sodom and Amorah, Admor, Tzvoim, and so on. That's what in the Haftorah, Hosea says, I'll make you like Admor and Tzvoim. Understand? Now, it's interesting. There is another Haftorah where Isaiah, he compares in the name of God the Jewish people to what?
Sodom and Gomorrah.
To Sodom and Gomorrah. But because in the story of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah is mentioned only the 2 cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, because they were the main cities, that's why everybody knows about Sodom and Gomorrah. Nobody knows about Admor and Tzvoim. But Hosea knew about Admor and Tzvoim.
They all work together in the same
That was
area.
the same neighborhood. It was the city and the suburbs. And the new suburb, Solon, was Tzor. That's why Tzor was saved, because it was the new suburb.
We've got a Zoar in Ohio. I don't know if you knew that.
There's
About
a Zoar in
an hour and a
Ohio.
half south of here is the
So,
Zoar.
Tzor,
Yeah,
the same name, the
yeah,
same spelling.
yeah.
OAR.
I hope
Yeah.
there is no Sodom and Gomorrah here. There is Admor, Tzvoim, no.
No, don't know those.
But Zohar, it's coming from the Bible.
There's Hebron too, so.
Yeah, Hebron is Hebron I know, but I didn't know that there is a Zohar.
Yeah, it is.
There's a Hebron in Ohio?
Hebron.
Hebron,
They
Ohio?
call it, yeah.
Any Jews there? We have to open a Chabad house there. Okay, now that we know what we are talking about, you can go back to page 1386 in the bottom of the page and continue the text. Even though the last four...
Even though I am angry with you, my heart has turned inside me to be kind to you.
Basically, God says, I cannot, even I'm angry with you, my kish is turned on, I cannot be angry with you. You are my kids. I'm kind to you. Go ahead.
All my attributes of mercy have been aroused all at once. I will not act with my fierce anger. I will not return to destroy Ephraim. For I am God and not a man who makes rash decisions. Once again, the holiness of my presence will rest among you, and I will not enter another city to join the nations instead of you.
That God tells that right away, Hosea turns right away the plate and says, but I will love you and I will never give up on you and I will never go anywhere else. I'm stuck with you and you're stuck with me, basically.
Question about the one particular line here, which says, "I am God and not a man." This is one of the lines that's used in the Jewish-Christian debate, indicating that God is not a
not
human
a man.
being.
Very
One of three.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
God is not a man, that's clear.
Mhm.
Anybody who thinks that God is a man doesn't get the idea what God is. Simple. It's on the basic. Okay, number 10.
In the times of the Mashiach, they will follow behind God into their land, just as animals follow the roar of the lion, their king, so too he will roar like a lion and gather them. For he will arouse their hearts as if they are being called by a lion's roar, and his children, the Jewish people, will hurry from the west.
Okay. He says that Hashem will go after Hashem. Achre Hashem Yelecho. We will follow God like the animals follow a lion when he roars. And we will all wake up from the roar of the lion, and we will come back to God, basically. To Israel, to God. That will be when Moshiach will come. We'll wake up. Now, the wake-up call can be a pleasant one. It can be like a lion. Sometimes it's compared to a lion that we're better off coming back to God by ourselves than waiting for the roar of the lion. And then he comes, he says something very interesting. Number 11.
They will hurry from Egypt like a bird, and from Ashur like a dove. I will settle them securely in their homes, says God.
Okay, here he says they will come like a bird from Egypt and like a dove from the land of Ashur. There is a very famous line from the book of Isaiah. I think it's from Isaiah, yeah? That we say on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. ובאו העובדים מארץ אשור והנידחים מארץ מצרים. You ever heard this line? Will come the lost one the one who are lost from the land of Ashur, והנידוחים, the banished one, from the land of Egypt. And they will come together to bow down to the king in Jerusalem. ובאו עובדים והנידוחים ושתחו להשם בהר הקודש בירושלים. They will come bow down. What does this mean? It means when Moshiach will come, there is two, then the Talmud explains in Kabbalah and Chassidus, and the Rebbe spoke about it, there is two types of exiles. There is the exile of Egypt and the exile of Ashur. Egypt was a very painful exile. The Jews were slaves. We suffered. We were banished we were vervogelt, it's called in Yiddish, banished in the place in Egypt. In Ashur, the Assyrian king, as we mentioned before, he didn't want to destroy the Jewish people. You can serve God, just not in Israel. No, nobody's a boss here. You go there and you go there. What happened to the 10 tribes? Where are they?
Assimilated.
Similarly, right? Why? Because life was good. What do you think? Life was good. The Assyrian exile was not a suffering exile. There is two exiles. There is Russia and America. Communist Russia and America. In Russia, the Jews were banished. They were suffering. They were pushed away. They were lost because they couldn't be Jewish, even if they wanted to. In America, they were lost. That's the difference. Then he says, the Jews who are lost in Ashur and banished in Egypt, both of them will come to the land of Israel, to bow to God. The same thing is here. He says like this: the birds will come from Mitzrayim, from Egypt, and the dove will come from the land of Ashur, and I will bring them back to their houses, says God. Represents all kinds of exiles that the Jewish people have. The good ones, because in history it was good ones and bad ones, good ones and bad ones, constantly. And no matter what, it's not good, because in the bad ones we suffer, we cannot do mitzvahs. Just in Russia couldn't do mitzvahs, even if they wanted to. They assimilated against the will. In America, we were lost. Life was so good, you got lost.
Wasn't that like the Alter Rebbe with between the Tsar and the Napoleon?
Yes, it's another story, but yes.
What's the Chabad view as to the ingathering of the exiles currently? I mean, everybody heading to Israel now, is that part of the current Messianic ingathering?
We don't look at it as a Messianic age, as a Messianic ingathering. It's an amazing miracle that the Jewish people have their own land and they can protect themselves and they have a safe place to go. And it's an unbelievable miracle. But this is not Messianic age yet. Messianic age, the way it's written in Maimonides is, Maimonides cites it like this: will stand up a king from the house of David, and he will encourage people. He says a stronger word. He will force the Jews. That force doesn't mean with a gun. Force could mean with words, with inspiration, to do mitzvahs. And then he will build the Holy Temple. And only then he will gather the Jews from all over the world. There is a certain order. It's interesting. This chapter of Maimonides, the Rebbe, I didn't even plan to speak about it, but everything is from Hashem. The Rebbe established a system of learning 3 chapters of Maimonides every day. That's a lot. But the Rebbe said, that's what you do. Tomorrow, we're completing a cycle of the whole book of Maimonides. In the last chapter of the whole book of Maimonides wrote 14 books, really. The whole monumental book we finished in 1 year, the whole 14 books, and the last chapter, and the last 2 paragraphs, Seifim, Aloches, Maimonides writes about the coming of Moshiach. The last 2 chapters speak about Moshiach, and then he writes. And then he writes, in the Rebbe quoted many times, the order, the way Maimonides writes, is also a law. What comes first, then comes later. Basically, a Moshiach has to come, a man has to come, and build the temple, and gather the exiles. That when the gathering of the exiles happens by itself, it's not the ultimate gathering it's not the messianic, it's a good thing, it's a blessing, but it's not the ultimate ingathering of the exiles. Because the ingathering of the exiles can only be when we finish the job all over the world. Because the Jews have a job. Every one of us is a messenger. Every one of us has to go and bring godliness to the world. That's our job. Talking about angels, malach. Malach means a messenger. We are all messengers of God. We are 13 million rabbis in a 7 billion world. If I don't know, I'm not good in math, but how much would be, how many chassidim will every rabbi have?
0.2%, roughly.
How much?
Are you talking about how many?
1
each of
in
us would have?
500.
How-
0.2%,
What is this in numbers? I don't know.
1 in 500.
roughly.
Every Jew will have 500 people that he has to teach. That's our job. What do you mean you're running away to Israel?
It's not 500.
Should be more.
More,
It's
more,
more,
more.
it's like
0.2%.
50,000.
Yeah. Remember, I made
Like
one the
50,000.
calculation. It has to be
50,
more.
I thought there was
13 mil, if you divide
50,000.
a billion
7
by
billion
1,000,
people.
if you
7 billion, yeah.
Divided by
It's
13 million, you said.
5,000.
That's a-
50,000.
50,000. I
50,000.
remember
Probably
sometime,
closer.
years ago, I made this
Yeah.
calculation.
How are we gonna
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that?
I'm wrong, forgive me.
Rabbi's always already on his way here.
How is one person gonna influence 50,000?
Oh, and with the
7 billion.
internet, with everything, what are you talking
12
about?
million.
But if we run away to Israel, we for sure cannot influence anything. Then when we are done, then we can go when the whole world is ready for
No,
God.
he's right.
Then we can be in
He's
gathering.
right, yeah, of course.
50,000.
Yeah.
No, it's 500.
500?
Yes, 7 billion
Well, yeah,
divided by 13
the
million.
number, the number of Jews in the world is 0.2%.
Yeah, which
But it's
is
still
1 in
500.
500.
It's only 500.
Well, 500?
Now we're talking.
Oh, now it's much easier. Right? That we have to start. But what I mean to say is, it's a miracle. Israel is an unbelievable miracle and a safe place for the Jews. Probably the greatest miracles in many generations. Many generations. But Mashiach is a whole different story. You can even say that's like God gives us like a rehearsal. If we know what to do with the state of Israel, we know how to live like Jews in such a place. God said, that's the rehearsal, how to know how to behave when Moshiach will come. But if the rehearsal is a little, it's not good.
Close on the money.
Is it 500?
538 people.
Really?
Oh, 538
But
people.
does Maimonides give another example as far as if Mashiach doesn't come on our own behalf?
On our own behalf, we
he's
cannot,
He's going to come maybe on his own,
Moshiach will come on his own.
no matter what.
Moshiach will come no matter what. The more mitzvahs
The
you do,
white
the quicker
donkey.
he will come. The quicker he will come. But it's basically, it's up to a Moshiach to lead the redemption. Without Moshiach, redemption is not just a concept that happens by itself. It's had to start with a person, one way or another. Okay, well, we are now in number 12:1, chapter 12, number 1.
The kingdom of Ephraim has surrounded me, pretending to return to me, but it has been with lies, for they are not genuine, and the house of Israel has treated me with deceit.
Oh, he says that the people of Ephraim say they love God, they don't really love God. Go ahead.
But Yehuda is still ruling the people and persuading them to be with God, and he is faithful to the holy God to carry out his word.
He says, he gives a compliment to the kingdom of Judah that they are religious. They are observing God. They are still faithful. Later he will reprimand them too, but at this moment he's giving them a compliment because he says that because eventually the people of Judah will also go astray. Okay.
Ephraim is a shepherd of empty things like the wind and pursues the easterly wind. All day he speaks much deceit and extortion, but they make a treaty with Asher to help them. And oil is brought by them as a bribe to Egypt to unite with Yehuda against the enemy.
Basically, the Jews always, the people of Israel, and even the people of Judah, always made the wrong political decisions. They always they ran to Ashur to help. They made a treaty with Ashur against Egypt, with Egypt against Ashur. Always they were always on the wrong side. And always the prophet told them, don't interfere, leave it alone. Don't try to interfere in the big wars, because it's not your business. Hashem will protect you, but they didn't have faith in God. They always try to do this and try to do this and try to do this, and always came out the wrong way. Go ahead, continue.
But afterwards Yehuda too will offend God, and God will have a quarrel with Yehuda. He will remember the bad ways of the children of Yaakov and will repay them according to their deeds.
He says that here, the prophet Hosea is saying, eventually Judah will also go astray. Will also go, and God will have a call with Riv LaHashem im Yehuda. God will be upset with Judah. Will be angry with them. But here comes something that really here starts the connection of the Haftorah to the Parsha. And here is a perfect example where you need the Haftorah, where the prophet are a commentary to the Bible. Go ahead.
While Yaakov, their father, was in the womb, he grabbed his brother's heel.
Okay, so far we know that. We all know the story that Yaakov in the womb was grabbing the heel of Esau. Now, as a doctor, I read in the commentaries, they said it's a miracle because a baby does not have a grab while in the mother's womb. It cannot hold on to something. They said that there was.
Right.
It's a miracle. This whole story is a miracle. This we know from the Bible. That's written clear. Continue.
In his strength, he fought with God's angel, the minister
With angel, and with strength he fought with angels. Now we'll see what's written in the text. Take you the string and you put it here, then you can go back and you'll not have to be looking for the pages again and again. But we're going to read next week's parsha. That's actually not this week's parsha. Last week's parsha we read about the bird that he was holding on to the eel. Next week's parsha we'll read about the struggle that he had. Page 217. Yaakov's fight with Esau's guardian angel. We talked about guardian angel? Here you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yaakov forgot some small jars and went back for them. He was left alone. Esau's guardian angel, appearing as a man, wrestled with him.
But look at what all of this is in parentheses. Let's read the text. A man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. Right? A man. How we know it's an angel?
It says right here.
In parentheses.
In parentheses. Parentheses is Rashi. How Rashi knew that's an angel? Rashi is quoting the verse from Hosea. That he said, the prophet Hosea tells us that he was struggling with an angel, not with a man. Because really the continuation of the story, he asked him to bless him, but a man blessed him and he gave him a name. The end of the story tells that it was an angel. Because after he overcome him, he told him, let me go. What means let me go? Okay, let's say he couldn't go. He says, because it's dawn. He says, I will not let you go until you give me a blessing. If you meet somebody in the middle of the night, you have a fight with them, you ask him for a blessing? What is this? It doesn't make sense.
And his name.
And then he tells him, what's your name? Then he tells him, I'll give you, your name will be Israel. Who are you to change my name? I meet a guy that is beating me up in the middle of the night in the dark street. I'll ask him, change my name? I mean, the end of the story says that it was an angel. But it's not written straight. Where it's written straight, it's written in the Haftorah. The prophet Hosea tells us that what it's written in the Bible, that Jacob was fighting with a man, was struggling with a man, it's an angel.
Just out of curiosity, again, there are multiple interpretations of what type of angel it is. Esau's angel is a very common interpretation rabbinically, but there's Samael, who's another angel. There's also Michael.
Michael. Some people say it was Michael.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's your take on the three of those?
It was. I'll tell you. It was for sure. It was for sure Esau's guardian angel. It was every nation, the big nations, have angels in heaven. Have ministers in angels. Asar, it's called. Asar in heaven that represent them. That's that you see. That some angel, the Chabad Rebbe spoke a few times about that. You see that the leaders like of America or Russia, they make decisions with a strength that it's not just based on their physical power. There is a certain inside strength that comes from above that doesn't make sense almost. There's a story once one of the Chabad rabbis was waiting in a place that everybody was waiting for the Tsar to arrive in a boat. And the water was storming unbelievably. It was a storm there. The sea was storming. 2 minutes before the Tsar arrived, the whole water calmed down. He arrived. It was beautiful. Nothing happened. But he turned to his son and he told him, you see, that's the Tsar, that's the angel. The heavenly angel. He says, these people have a special strength from God. They might be bad, they might be good. It doesn't mean that they are good. But they have representative in heaven. Now, here it's explained, the moment he overcome the angel that represents Jacob, Esau, then Esau became a piece of cake. Esau lost his strength. He became fearful of Jacob. The all his strength is the angel that represents him. When you overcome the angel, then in Yom Kippur War, the Rebbe was saying, right after the war, he says, we should throw out the Satan from the heavenly court. Basically, enough of saying bad things about the Jewish people. And he said also that the Tsar of Egypt throw out the angel that represents Egypt from the heavenly court. We have to overcome him. But the concept is that every nation has an angel that represents them.
Can we do that in the United Nations too? Throw out some of the...
You have to throw out the whole United Nations.
You know, I don't understand, because when he actually physically has the whole thing with Esau, he's preparing for war, he's doing the gifts, and Esau, there's still a physical confrontation that
No.
you wouldn't really know.
Esau does not have any physical confrontation
You
with
wouldn't
them.
you wouldn't know that he was really prevailing over him. He was automatically basically going to win.
Yeah, but he didn't know that.
Jacob didn't know.
Jacob didn't know that. Jacob was ready for everything. By the way, Jacob prepared before. Right?
Before the fight?
Before the fight. After the
Split
fight,
up.
he didn't prepare
Split up.
anything. After the fight, you don't need any preparation. Let's look again. But as far as I remember, it was all before the fight. And right after the fight, it's written about Yaakov confronting Esau. Esau, Yaakov Esainov, Jacob lifted up his eyes and he saw Esau is coming. It's written that he separated the kids. He did one thing. He separated his family. He put them in a certain order. But all the preparation was before the story with the angel. Okay, let's see what happened with the angel. We are in number 5, 12:5, on page 1387, chapter 12, number 5. We'll read it again. When
When he defeated the angel and ruled over him, the angel cried and begged Yaakov to allow him to leave, saying, God will find us together again in Bethel, and will speak with us there, and then I will bless you. So why is Yaakov now so weak?
Basically, the prophet complains. He says, Yaakov overcame Esau, right? The angel of Esau. Then why are you so weak like this? What happened to you guys? Yaakov means the Jewish people. Why are you so weak? Why are you not stressed? After we overcame already, we had a struggle. We overcame the angel. Now it's our turn. You should be strong forever and not to be afraid of the rest of the world. That's what he's really saying. But he says you meet him in Bethel because even that by the struggle with Jacob, right here, he told them, the angel told them, your name will not be anymore Jacob, but Israel. But officially, he got the name from God when he came to Bethel. Right? In Bethel, they're the place that God revealed himself to him and told them, not anymore, your name will not anymore be called Yaakov, be called Israel.
When Jacob was given the name Yisrael, struggle with God, obviously there's a debate between is this man God, or is the angel a representative or an agent of God? I was wondering if you could comment on that.
Obviously, he struggled with the angel that represents God. So it's written even in the text, Soriso im Elokim ve'anoshim, we were able to struggle with God and with men. It means struggle with God. There is even expressions in the Talmud that when a person God, there is a famous story, the Talmud learned that maybe 6 months ago, then that it was a famous story, that was an argument in the Talmud, in the yeshiva, and Rabbi Lezer, the great, with the other 3 rabbis, and he wanted to prove that he's right, and finally a voice from heaven came out and said, who are you to argue with Rabbi Eliezer, right? Mm-hmm. And Rabbi Yeshua stood up and said, Torah loi b'shamayim, the Torah is not in heaven, here we're going by the rules and finished. God himself cannot interfere. Mm-hmm. Later the Talmud says, I think Rabbi Yeshua ben Nachmani, one of the rabbis met Elijah the prophet, and he asked him, how was God's reaction to throwing him out of the yeshiva? What was the reaction of God?
My children have defeated me.
He said, Kochayr, God was smiling, and he said, Nitzchuni bonai nitzchuni. My sons have defeated me, overcame me. That means that the concept is there. What does this mean? God wants to see sometimes men strong. What does we do with the story with Moses? And God says to him, I'm going to destroy the all Jewish people. Moses says, forget about it. God said, oh, that's what I wanted to do. You understand? Then it's not such a problem.
God wants to struggle with Abraham and Moses and others, you know.
And he wants them to overcome. Mm-hmm. That's his real, that he says he's happy that they are standing on their own feet and they're fighting for what they believe is right.
That's a struggle in terms of argument. Here it seems to be more of a physical struggle. Mm-hmm.
Obviously with God there is no physical struggles. Not even with angels. No matter how you look at it, what I mean to say is that the struggle that he had with God and with man is not a problem. That's what I want to say.
But this was a physical struggle. I mean, Jacob.
It's written Aish, it was written a man. It was written a man. It was, right, yeah. And that, let's put it this way, it had a physical effect. How we know that he had a struggle when he moved later? So, he can't move. I knew it's something real. Sometimes it's not real. You don't even know what happened there. When you try to move, you say, I can't move. I say, something really happened there. Even when a human being attacks you, Nebuch in the last attacks in Israel, people said they will stop. They didn't know what happened to them. Suddenly they see blood, because it's so fast. And what I mean to say is when Jacob saw that his hip was dislocated, he knew that there was a story. That's a sign that was real. That's what I'm saying. But the way it's written in the text, it was a real struggle. It's written a man, it's not even an angel. Hosea tells us that it was an angel.
So we don't see angels taking physical form very often. We see it in the Abraham story with the 3 angels. They take physical form. We see the angels taking physical form here. Most of the time they're spiritual angels. Pardon me?
Balaam.
Okay, yeah.
An angel is a physical form, yeah.
Okay. Most of the, and there are a few examples. Is there a problem when angels assume physical form?
For who?
Well, think just theologically. It seems to be created beings can assume physical form. That's not a problem.
With the binding of Isaac, there's an angel there.
But not physical.
No, nobody says, not necessarily physical. The angel just told them, spoke to him.
Okay.
He told them, don't touch him. Go ahead.
What's the definition of an angel?
An angel without a physical form is easy. It's an expression of God, an extension of God.
Okay.
It's an extension of God that could be in many ways. Whatever happens to you could be, basically it could be an interfering, God himself can interfere on your behalf, or just an angel. It's a lower level of God intervention.
Like when you do those mitzvahs, they say a mitzvah creates an angel?
Yes.
And a transgression creates a...
It's written when God came and took the Jews out of Egypt, he's saying the Haggadah, right? God took the Jews out of Egypt. Ani v'loi maloch,
Yeah.
me and not an angel, right? He's saying the Haggadah. Me and not a sorrow. There is another type, the 3 levels there. And then it says, God himself came. What does this mean? The level of miracles that took place in Egypt was on the highest level. God himself revealed himself in Egypt. An angel is sending a messenger. Sometimes the king himself comes. Sometimes he sends an agent.
When you say extension, you're talking an agent. That's the
An agent, it means to say, a lower level of clarity that it's God. That's what it is. Sometimes you see a miracle, you say, whoa, it's God. No argument. Sometimes people start to argue. Why? Because it's a lower level of God's revelation. It's an extension.
Like a shliach.
A shliach is the malach in Hebrew. Angel is the same word for agent,
Really?
emissary.
What?
Malach could be a messenger. Malach can be an angel. The same word is about what. Why? Because that's the idea. He's an agent and an emissary of God.
Interesting.
Then it could be another person that God made them go do something for person number 2. It could be a spiritual reality that took place. Then the more the miracle is clear, the more it means God himself had to reveal himself. God is above nature. When nature is, God is hiding, is behind the scenes. Then an angel is a little bit a revelation of behind the scenes, but not a lot. The greater the revelation, the greater the miracle is, the more that God himself was interfering here. On the level from Ein Sof, the level that's above logic. Verstehst?
Deep stuff.
What I mean to say is, we spoke about it in the class before the class, then we have to take off the layers. It's not a physical thing, understand?
Yes.
The problem is that other religions took it and made it very physical. An angel is an expression of God, but in a level that God himself doesn't come. For example, God told Abraham, go sacrifice your son. To stop him, he sent an angel. What does this mean? A lower level of revelation of God. That's what it
Do
is.
you believe in guardian angels for each person?
Again, sure.
Like all
It's written
all
there
the
is a
Jews,
guardian angel.
or
Every person.
Every person.
Really, your guardian angel is the angels that, the mitzvahs that you do, create an angel. Create a protection around you. The mitzvahs are your protection. The more mitzvahs you have, the more protection.
So in that concept, an angel is metaphorical. Okay?
What is metaphorical? No, an angel
I
is
don't
real.
think-
That's
no.
what it is.
No, I
When
don't
you say
think it-
metaphorical, it means you mean
Just
angel
not-
is something goes and then
No.
Just not tangible.
not tangible.
No, you're talking about.
No, it's a force.
It's a force.
It's
Very good.
spiritual.
A spiritual power.
It's real.
Yeah.
But in Egypt, God himself came in and made such miracles that God revealed himself completely. That's God, that was not anybody else, no agents. Ani v'loi malach, ani v'loi sof, ani v'loi sholiach. I am not an angel. I came and not an angel. I am not a saraf. A saraf is the name of a higher level of angel. Ani v'lo shaliach. Shaliach means a messenger. Ani hu v'lo acher. Me alone. God himself revealed
What
himself.
about? Because I get confused sometimes. It says destroyer
What?
in the Haggadah. Maybe I'm wrong.
You mean the,
Not to
the,
I'm not the
the
destroyer.
death of the firstborn.
No, I mean when he's.
That's what the angel of death.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
What about on Mount Sinai? God?
Mount Sinai, God himself came. Absolutely, absolutely. God himself revealed himself. Yeah, Mount Sinai, that was the ultimate. That was the big day. The big bang. Yes. Mount Sinai, that was everything. Now God is hiding himself. From time to time, God makes a miracle, like the Entebbe raid that we saved the whole plane. That the Rebbe said that God from time to time reveals his outstretched arm. He reminds the Jews that he's here. Don't worry. I'm running the show. All the wars that Israel had with the world, I mean, that they won the wars is a miracle. Pure and simple miracle. Being realistic in Israel means to believe in miracles.
Yeah.
Let's continue. Number 6 are we? Or we
Yeah,
are?
number 6.
Yes.
Go ahead.
God.
Number 6 on which page? 1387 or
Yes,
back?
1387.
Bottom, near the bottom.
On the bottom. almost.
God is the omnipotent God of all the hosts. Almighty God is his name. Turn to your God in peace. Just be careful to be kind and just, then you can constantly trust in your God, that he will grant your wishes.
If you will be just and kind, Actually, kind and just. You see, it's always in the Torah, in the prophet, almost always chesed before mishpat. The kindness before the justice. Because the justice has to come, you have to have the approach of kindness. When you come to do justice, you have to come with the attribute of kindness when you come to do the justice. Don't be so cruel, so harsh.
Does this text separate God and the angels here? God of all the hosts, that's referring to God of all the angels?
It's the same thing, the host are the angels.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again,
Down
it seems to differentiate God from the angels.
Absolutely, God is above the angels, sure. The angels are an expression of God, but they are not God. You understand what I'm saying? My finger is a part of me, but this is not me. I'm not speaking to my finger. You understand what I'm saying? That's an expression of God, but they are not an identity of their own. They are not God. They're representing God, if you want. Go ahead. But you are like?
But you are like a merchant who has deceitful scales in his hand, who loves to oppress others rather than acting kindly and justly. Ephraim said, surely the reason that I have become wealthy is because I have found strength for myself, and it is not from God. Furthermore, the Almighty will not find in all my business dealings and efforts any sinful wrongdoings, for God isn't aware.
Okay. What this says the regular person? Hey, I'll be deceitful, I'll do this, I'll cut corners. I know what I'm doing. I'm smart, and God doesn't see, it's me. It's all about me. That's what the prophet is reprimanding.
But it's interesting, it says, for God isn't aware, so how could he be sinful or found of sin if God's not aware?
That's what I'm saying, you can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
God doesn't know. That's what he thinks. But
But am I not God, your God, since the time of redemption from the land of Egypt?
now look in the Hebrew side. Number Yud. Ve'anochi Hashem Elokecha. Where we say Anochi Hashem Elokecha?
And Shema. Say it again.
Anochi Hashem Elokecha.
Oh, this is when he's Mount Sinai.
Mount Sinai, the beginning of the Ten Commandments says, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, Asher Hotzaticha Meretz Mitzrayim. He uses almost the same expression. He just misses the word Asher Hotzaticha. Anochi Hashem Elokecha Meretz Mitzrayim. I took you out from Egypt. Go ahead, continue in English. I have looked after you.
After you at a future time. I will again settle you in tents as in those days.
Just like I took you out from Egypt, I protected you in tents, that I will do in the future.
I've spoken about you to the prophets and gave them many visions. I have given parables through the prophets, so you should understand them and be satisfied that I am carefully looking and taking care of you.
Basically, God says, I spoke to the prophets for you. Why I give them visions? For you. The prophet is not a mensch for himself. God doesn't have a prophet because he looks for a good guy, let's prophesy you. Because he wants to send messages to the Jewish people. The whole specialty of Moses is because he represents the Jewish people. The moment God was upset with the Jewish people, they felt the golden calf, he told Moses, go down, I don't need you. If not for the Jewish people, who are you? What is the greatness of a rabbi? That he represents his congregation. What the greatness of the chazan? That he represents? It's all about the Jewish people. That's what he says here. I gave the vision and the prophecy to the prophet to make it easier on you, to bring you closer to God. Number 12.
If I am misfortune befell Gilad, it was not by chance, but because they were false. In Gilgal, they sacrificed cattle to idols. Their altars for idol worship there are also numerous as mounds in the furrows of the field.
Here he complains about, goes back to the complaint. Gilad was, where was Gilad? Gilad is where the 2.5 tribes.
That would have been east of the river. Then.
Reuven.
Yes, Reuven and God and the half of Menashe. Gilad was not a good place. Gilad was full of killers, of murderers. Where we see it, the Torah says, when they speak about the city of refuge, they said, 3 cities of refuge on this side of the Jordan, where Israel is, and 3 cities of refuge on the other side of the Jordan. The Rashi is asking right there. 3 cities of refuge for 2.5 tribes, and the other 3 cities of refuge for 10 tribes? What's going on here? The answer is, Gilad was a place of a lot of murders. Was a bad. No, a place creates people. There is an influence on the place. You'll see every place produces a different kind of people. There is something about the place that affects the human being. There is places where people are kinder, and the places, it's not only nations, it's a place who makes the people who they are. In Gilad, they were not good people. That's what he says. Gilad was a place of false, and in Gilgal was the first place that they built a temple, right? First 14 years, the temple was, when they conquered the land of Israel, the temple was in Gilgal. They were offering balls for the idols, basically. That's what he's complaining. We'll continue the next paragraph because this is still the Haftorah that we say on Shabbat. Yaakov
fled to the field of Aram. Yisrael worked there for a wife, and for a wife he tended sheep and left a wealthy man through my blessings.
Okay, this line goes straight connected to our parsha. Yaakov fled to the field of Aram, that's Haran. Aram is called, how we know it's called Aram? Laban, the Aramean, right? Arami. Laban was a deceiver, right? He deceived Jacob. You know, the word Arami and Ramai is the same spelling and the same letters, just turn them around. Arami and Ramai is the same 4 letters. Because the old people of Aram, they were deceiving people. Again, we spoke about the place, it's a place. They were all of this kind. It wasn't that Laban was the other guy. Look in the story how Laban deceived Jacob. The whole community cooperated. Nobody all came out and said, by the way, it's not there.
Rebecca deceived, obviously, too. She was the sister of Laban.
She was a sister, yeah. She came from Aram.
Yeah, but didn't Abraham come from Aram, too, originally?
No. Abraham came from Ur Kasdim, and he stopped in Aram for a little bit in Haran, and right away moved to Israel. I mean, you can take it because Abraham also said that this is my sister. You understand? Like, you don't have to be a goyim. Sometimes to save your life, you better do what it needs to do. I want just to tell you, there is a story. I remember we mentioned it a few times. I knew this Jew. He was a Chassid from Russia. His name was Simcha Gorodetsky. He was in Uzbekistan, I think it was. He was sent by the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe to establish an underground system of schools for children. What means schools at that time? 5 children will learn in this house with this teacher, another 3 this teacher, in the whole city. One night, somebody from the KGB, a Jew from the KGB came and told them, tomorrow they're going to arrest you and all the teachers. You should just know. But that night he was running from teacher to teacher and told them when they will interrogate you, they'll ask you if Gorodetsky is in charge of the whole thing. Tell them no. Everybody says, yeah, sure. It comes to the last teacher, finally, 12 o'clock at night, and he had to go in secret ways because he was afraid and so on and on. The guy tells them, I never lied. I know I have to save you. I know it's a problem, but I never said a lie. What should I do? I can't. From the day I was born, my father taught me you never say a lie, no matter what. He talks to him. He's saving my life. He's saving all the teachers, the whole school. Talk to the walls. He says, it's all good and fine. I agree with you, but I just can't lie. Simcha Gorodetsky goes home and cries and prays to Hashem to save him, saying from this idiot and from the communist. The next morning, that's what actually happened. All the teachers were arrested. Everybody was interrogated. Gorodetsky came from Moscow, from this to organize this and to deceive you against the government. No, I don't know Gorodetsky. We don't know him. We saw him in shul once. We don't know anything. We have nothing with him. Finally, they called this Chacham. Asked him, Gorodetsky? He said, yes. One of the interrogators told him, liar, get out of here. Jacob deceived because it was the best way to handle the situation. Instead of coming to Isaac and tell him that your son Esau is a murderer, is a gangster, it's terrible to break this father's heart, he better deceive them. He says it's easier. I don't want to kill my father. Sometimes you have to do
Don't
it.
tell me, show me. Is that the kind of the expression there?
It's called Ani Chochmo Shachanti Omo. Sometimes we have to go not in a straight way to accomplish what you need to accomplish. It's
With the
not to
purity,
lie,
with
but you have
purity.
to go around and
That's what it
around
sounds.
to
With the
accomplish.
pure, you act purely.
Exactly. Yes. Very good. Yes.
But Isaac was pure here. I mean,
Isaac was not different.
He was blind.
Isaac was different. Isaac was blind. But Isaac, when he discovered that by mistake he gave the blessing to Jacob, he didn't regret. He said, "Gam baruch yeh, may he be blessed."
But I thought they both cried. Esav cried and Yaakov.
Isaac cried.
Yitzhak.
When they
It's
met.
for crying.
He trembled.
He trembled. You're right.
He saw
Esav
the
cried
hidden.
and he trembled.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
That's right.
He was shocked. He was like,
Yes.
"What happened here?"
Yes.
The Gehenna under him.
But in the end of the day, he gave you the blessing.